This is the Mariners POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Seattle Mariners. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Man, I swear I could say, whoops, let me quickly switch us here so you guys can get used to it. Make sure it's on the right side. My fault. Man, I could say, why does this team do it to me almost every single day that we go live here on the Mariners POSTCAST today? Because this is what we know they can be. I understand baseball's a 162 game schedule. I feel like I'm going to sneeze here in a second. So if I do that, I'm not dying. Don't worry. But when they have these just feeble games, especially offensively, this is where you point to and be like, that is what you can be. That is what you can be against two of the best starters in baseball. What a good series. Series win, I should say. The series isn't over yet for the Mariners as they pick up this win. What was it? 15-7 is our final score. Looked like it was going to get a little close there in the 7th and 8th inning. But fortunately, the offense just keeps rolling. I'm looking at multi-hit days from, I'm looking at the Tigers box score here. Julio, from Randy, from Luke Raley, from Dom Canzone, and Ben Williamson. So just an overall awesome day offensively. This is the Mariners POSTCAST. My name's Anderson Hurst. That's Christopher Crawford right to my left as I switch us back to the normal slot. We go live right after every single Mariner baseball game to break down the game you guys just watched. Daily recap, as we all know and love here on Locked On Mariners YouTube channel. Chris Crawford, initial thoughts on the win and the series win in Detroit.
You know, I would have liked to have seen not so many field goals. I thought the Seahawks probably should have been a little more aggressive here. Maybe, 5 field goals is a nice day. And if you have Jason Myers on your fantasy team, it was a really nice.
You're getting into the red zone very often.
Yes, you are. And
he's not converting.
Red zone's a pretty way to put it. Good way to put it, because not only did the Mariners get into the red zone a lot, they finished their drives today. The football analogy actually works. I didn't know it was going to. I just was going to but they did such a good job offensively today. 8 for 19 with runners in scoring position today. That's very close to that's above a 400 batting average. You go 8 for 20, that's 400. That's how math works. And there were some questionable pitching performances today, and especially a questionable pitching decision today, but it didn't matter. Your offense carried you, and that's 27 runs in the last games. And let's not forget about this. And I know we're just here to recap the Daily Show, right? The offense looked fine against the Yankees as well.
Yeah, I agree.
The offense looked very fine against those guys. A crazy rain delay thing that I think actually affected George Kirby. We'll talk about that again. But the offense played well. The offense did a nice job in this road trip. And no matter what happens Sunday, I think this is a successful road trip. 2-4 against two of the very best teams in baseball. That's good. That's not what you can do against everybody else. But when you're playing the Yankees and the Tigers, and the Tigers are unquestionably the best team in the American League by record, by run differential,
in the MLB.
Whole lot of stuff.
MLB.
Maybe. And so to win this series, and to win the series so emphatically, it's really cool. And it's just wonderful to see some of these guys who have been doing it all year, but in particular, somebody who appears to be getting going again. And that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're going to have the Julio conversation, as we've had many negative conversations with him recently. I know we're a daily recap show, but what we saw today, we can put in context with what we saw yesterday. And the rest of the season as well. And I think that's something that we can talk about here on the Mariners POSTCAST. We'll also talk about Kirby's start. We'll talk about a Dan Wilson decision that baffles us. But overall, I think the story is the offense. And, when you filled in for Ian Furness, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and you had Manny Acta on your show.
Yeah.
He says the Mariners go as Julio goes.
Yeah. And
it's pretty like I think for the first couple of years, it was like, yeah, I can understand that. He's looks like your most talented player, looks like your best hitter. This debatably last year, but especially this year with the way Cal's going, it was like, really? He's still saying that with Cal literally competing for an MVP with Aaron Judge at this point?
Yeah.
But it's true. It's crazy how different. I say this about Polanco too, how different a healthy Jorge Polanco helps this offense. But I think especially the case with Julio. When he looks right, this is the kind of day you can have, right? And I don't think it's just his at-bats that change everything. His overall vibe when he's playing the way we know that he can play changes the entire team. It changes everyone's spirits. It's the kind of electric factor that he has. And that's why it's been so frustrating that he hasn't been playing to this point, playing like this to this point. But I'm just going to really quick ask you, is he back?
I don't know. Here's the thing.
Terrible
no
answer.
One does.
Terrible answer.
No one knows. No one knows if Julio's back. Now, here's what I'll say. I'll give you the positive and I'll give you the negative.
Okay.
The positive is, let's not forget that this guy had a run of 3 straight games with extra base hits, broken, I think, just in the last game against the Yankees, right? Yeah. So there were signs that games like these were coming, right? He was starting to drive the ball into the gap. It's just the other at-bats outside of that were not so good. Yeah. And we'll also point this out. He got 2 horrific pitches that he drove out of the park. The home run that he hit off Tariq Skubal. I talked about it yesterday. Yeah. Horrific pitch. Now, good job by Julio waiting on it and driving it. That's a pitch a lot of times he just lines up the middle, right?
Exactly. And that's been a huge thing with him. He's not hitting those mistake pitches.
Exactly. So he took advantage of that. He took advantage of another pitch today and destroyed it. That's not an insult to him, but let's just call it what it is, right? Like, Julio Rodriguez also, I think, hasn't gotten a lot of mistakes lately. It's something I've been watching for. Like, is he missing those pitches over the middle? No, he's not turning on fastballs, but they're decent pitches that he hasn't been hitting. I don't know if Julio's back. What I will say is there's no denying, zero denying, that he's capable of being one of the very best players in baseball. And to the last 2 days in particular, not just with the defense, not just with the speed, and he gets caught stealing twice today, right? So there were some boo-boos, but ultimately doesn't matter. In a game you win by 8 runs, we'll just forget all about that, right?
Yeah.
And he steals a base too, so that was nice to see. Ultimately, what it comes down to is whether or not Julio Rodriguez can carry this over after the break. And now I'm disappointed that he has a week off.
I was going to ask you that too. Isn't it pretty crazy how 2 days ago it's like, God, he needs the All-Star break so bad, and especially after he announced that he's not going. It's like, okay, great. And I want to ask, do you think that has anything to do with the timing here? Because ever since he announced that he's not going, it just seems like there's been a little bit of a switch flicked inside of him. I don't know. Maybe that's the signs of things that have been happening, and then it finally just found its way through. But I think there's a little bit of a difference just in his overall demeanor. Maybe I'm looking too far into it, but do you think that has anything to do with it?
You know what? I'm going to do it again. I don't know.
Oh, come on.
I don't know. And here's the thing is that, like, the reason why I think Julio is taking this break, a lot of people were pointing out that it's like, oh, he feels bad about being an all-star. Bullcrap. That has nothing to do with it. The dude needs a break. The dude has played in a lot of baseball. He's never, I believe, had an all-star break off. The one time where he didn't make the all-star game, I believe it was injury related, right?
Yes.
Like that he probably wasn't going to make the team anyway, but he wasn't healthy. Dude wants a break. And I think it's just more about the fact that Julio finally got some mistakes and played up to the level that he's capable of doing. And we don't know if he'll keep this up. It's worth pointing out that in July, Julio Rodriguez has been spectacular in the past. Yeah. Is there a chance that continues? Pretty strong one. Yes. Pretty strong one. But nobody knows what Julio Rodriguez is going to give you. And this is ultimately my negative side here is why is that the case? Yeah. Why is Julio Rodriguez so inconsistent at best and maddeningly, I know that's a weird word, just frustrates the ever-loving you-know-what out of you because there are some atrocious at-bats. There are pitches that he misses. And again, I don't think that's been the case lately. I just don't think he's been a good enough hitter to fight off enough pitches or to make hard contact on pitches that aren't in the middle of the plate. But I don't know what we're going to get from Julio Rodriguez. What I know is there's no denying that he is capable of being as good as any player in baseball, and it's wonderful to be reminded of that again.
Yeah, and here's to hoping it can continue. And I think you put that perfectly. It makes it even more frustrating when you see these two games.
I love this. I'm sorry.
Unless it doesn't.
I think it will continue unless it doesn't. That's perfect. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And we don't know. I wish we knew. At this stage of his career, we should have a better idea of what Julio Rodriguez's floor is. We know what the ceiling is. There's nobody, I think, in baseball outside of maybe Ronald Acuna Jr. with a higher offensive ceiling. But there are lots of players with a higher offensive floor. A lot of them. But man, when he's hot. And here's the other thing I'll point out. Games like this matter a lot more than the games where he struggles. Games where he is this type of player, where you get on 4 times, where you score 3 runs, when you hit a home run, blah, 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 matter a lot more than the 0 for 4s. Yeah. There's a couple 0 for 4s you can have when you have a game like this. That's just the way this sport works. So let's just keep that in mind as well.
Well, and that's the nature of failing 70% or whatever, everything, right? Exactly. So, like, as long as if you have one of these games and again, that doesn't excuse what he's been doing up until now offensively, right? And that makes it even more frustrating because you see this and it's like, why can't you do that earlier in the season?
Sure.
But if it means that he's kind of coming back around and starting to figure things out, because there's 2 ways to look at it with him. He's 24 years old. That's young. That's very young in comparison to a lot of players in this league. But he's also on year number 4.
Yep.
Which, like, you can look at it age, or you can look at it how long he's been in the MLB.
Sure.
So I think both things apply, right? He's still like a young man, but he has been in the league long enough to where he should be able to make these adjustments by now, especially with how much talent he has. Really quick, let's give some love to our sponsors, and then we'll talk about the Kirby start. I know we normally start with the start, but that I think that was topic numero uno that we needed to get to today. So let's say hi to Supply House. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online.
Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info for help to get the job done right. They would even help you get that transition done better. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need, delivered fast and from coast to coast.
If you need help with an order, Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn.
Oh, yeah, I have something else to read there, don't I?
Yes, you
do. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, if you use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order, heck of a deal, and that's at supplyhouse.com.
Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets because you use Gametime, you can now splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite more people to come with you. Gametime makes it possible.
Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Guys, in these summer months, the weather can be pretty crazy. It can be really, really hot sometimes. It can be really, really rainy sometimes. Sometimes you want to wait till that last minute, and the fact that you can wait till that last minute and save money makes Gametime the very best place to go and buy your tickets.
Well, yeah, especially if you're in Detroit because there's a flipping rain delay, and people are probably selling off their tickets because they're like, "Oh, I need stuff to do at 2:00." So, well, I'm sure we'll talk about it here in a second, but you can take the guesswork like rain delays out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee.
Perfect ad rating for me. Just an unbelievably great job on rating those ads.
Yeah. You were Dom Canzone today. 4 hits. That was perfect.
I think I was more like Eduardo Bizardo today, to be completely honest. That's okay.
All right, I'm going to give you the choice, Chris. Do you want to go to the start now, or do you want to talk about the rest of the offense?
I want to talk about the start, just because it's kind of fresh in my mind.
Kirby, let's not start with the start, because we were already 15 minutes.
Yeah, let's start the second half with the start. Matt is a pretty good description here. And I do want to point out that I do think that the delay affected George Kirby today, just like the delay affected Casey Mize, a guy who is normally very, very good.
Yeah.
And George Kirby has been fantastic over his last few outings and just couldn't find the strike zone. And when George Kirby can't find the strike zone, I am blaming something. There is either weather, or there is something in the baseball, like
We've seen it often this year, though. More often than usual.
But he was a guy who came in with all of 9 free passes, and he added, I believe, 3 today. I can't remember the last time I saw George Kirby start with 3 walks. It just isn't very common. But I will say this. The first inning, very bad. The 5th inning, awful. And I would like to thank Spencer Torkelson for his help in him getting out of the inning. I have no idea what you're doing, dude. Like, why are you running in that situation? Terrific throw from Big Dumper. Terrific throw. But what are you doing? I will say this, though. So first inning, bad. 5th inning, bad. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th inning was awesome. Like, that was okay, this is the version of George Kirby we've seen for the overwhelming majority of the game. And this is what I ultimately come down to. What we see a lot of times with these rain delays is that the start and the end of it is when you're affected. Because I thought George Kirby tired. I think he tired from having to get loose twice for this start. This game started, an hour late? Something along those lines. Yeah. I think that absolutely played a factor into him having an issue in the first inning, and it ended up tiring him at the end of the game. Now, I'll give Detroit credit too, right? That's a good lineup. That is a good lineup of guys who can hit for average, who can hit for power. I won't say that George Kirby was at his best, because of course he wasn't. But if you just watched the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th inning, you guys would wonder what the heck we're talking about, because he was spectacular in those innings. So it's not a great start. And we'll talk about who the catcher was, I am sure. But I will also say this. No concerns with Kirby. None. Okay. A couple of bad innings, 3 spectacular ones. George Kirby looks way more back to me than not.
All right, that's fair. I have such high expectations for him, similar to Julio. In this way, where it's like, I know what he can be, and you saw it from multiple innings this time, and you saw it for all of 2023 and a lot of 2024 as well. Sure. I understand he didn't have a preseason or a spring training or whatever you want to call it. That has something to do with it, but I think we're far along. We're July 12th now. I think we're far enough along since he's returned to kind of throw that excuse out the window. One thing I mentioned in our little group chat that we have, and I'm wondering what your thoughts are about this. It's weird because his command has taken a dip this year compared to years past, but I feel like his stuff has gotten better.
Yeah.
Do you think that has something to do with the lack of command because his stuff is better than in years past? He isn't accounting for as much movement as he would have had to before?
I don't think there's any question. The fact that he has more movement on his pitches right now is definitely something that you have to account for. But again, that start against the Pirates, and sure, the Pirates and the Tigers are usually they're pretty similar teams based on their history as of late. Ain't similar right now. Sure, that start was against, but you saw what he did against the Twins. You saw what he did in the start before that. I just think today was an example of the ball being slick, a humid day in Detroit on top of the rain. I'm making a little bit of excuses here, but it's worth pointing out 13 swings and misses generated is a very solid number over 5 innings. I just think today that the command was affected by the weather delay, and I would expect he'll probably start the 3rd game after the All-Star break. That's what I would guess. He'll be fine.
I'm just going to mention it because, there wasn't much to it, but another reason is because he had Cal Raleigh catching him today.
Cal Raleigh.
I'm just going to keep pointing it out until I see a trend otherwise, because every
sure.
dominating start he's had has been with Mitch Garver behind the plate.
Yeah.
And it's not like he's been awful with Cal Raleigh behind him.
Sure.
It's not like the numbers are like, whoa, huge difference. And it's not like it's a big enough sample size yet to where it matters. But I'm just going to keep pointing it out until I notice a trend in the opposite direction. I'll put it
That's fair. That's fair. And, you know, I joked in our little group chat that today I became more convinced than ever that it's coincidental, because I don't think Mitch Garver's holding a better like framing target for him. But
it's just chemistry. I think.
It is an interesting thing, the chemistry for sure. Let's talk about the other pitchers real quick, and then we can get into the offense. I thought the decision to bring in Bizzardo in that situation was one of the dumbest things I've seen from Dan Wilson. And it's not because I don't think Bizzardo's good. In fact, it's the opposite. Bizzardo was fantastic yesterday, and a major reason why they won that game. 2 innings of scoreless baseball when it was still a 4-3 game. Why are you throwing him again after that? 23 pitches doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a lot of getting hot and a lot of not only that, they're getting good looks at you, right? Like those guys have seen Bizzardo. That makes a big difference, especially for a good offense there. I don't understand why you don't go to a Legumina in that situation, or like go to a Taylor Saucedo for that situation, who looked good afterwards. So that was nice to see. I thought Thornton pitched okay, you know, not his absolute best, but he gave you 2 innings. Yeah. That's one nice thing this bullpen has, is they do have guys who can give you multiple innings. It's not something they've had a whole heck of a lot over the last few years. And I thought Taylor Saucedo pitched excellent in as about a low leverage a situation as possible.
Perfect for him.
But it would be great to see Taylor Saucedo to become that second lefty. Be nice not to have to trade some prospects to get that second lefty in the bullpen.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. There's just other options besides Bizzardo. I get that's kind of been his role. Like, okay, when the starter doesn't go exactly how far you want him to go, you bring in Bizzardo to kind of mop it up and just kind of get to the rest of the game with your higher leverage guys. Yeah. But like you said, he pitched 2 innings yesterday, a team that literally just saw him. There's definitely the fatigue factor as well. And you have other guys that can do that as well. So that was a weird one.
And real quick, nice job by Matt Brash as well to come into that situation and clean it up. Yeah. I will say that we had an announcer issue that made me feel like Matt Brash didn't do a good job at first. We won't go any further than that, but it was nice to see him. And the nice thing is too, Matt Brash will absolutely be available for tomorrow, because I think he threw 4 pitches.
Yeah, so, it was really, really quick. So
very nice job.
Should be good to go. So, and I don't think you pitched yesterday either, did he?
No, he didn't. Okay. So he should be, for sure he didn't pitch yesterday. Because he was going to close that game with Andres Munoz not available, and then Big Dumper did what Big Dumper do.
Oh, so great. So great.
Yeah.
We're back. The Mariners postcast. Let's talk about the rest of the offense, because we talked about Julio and how much difference him being him can make, and we saw that. My goodness. But let's I mean, you can't. I almost think the player of the day, you could go with Canzone. You could go with Randy Arozarena. We still have to do our unsung hero / villain. Where do you want to go here? I'm just going to point out Randy Arozarena. Dude is just consistent right now. Every single day. And it's weird because I almost pegged him as similar to Julio, where he will have explosions of offense. Yeah. And then go really cold. It's almost been the opposite. It's like, yeah, he'll give you a couple hits, maybe a home run every now and then. He's just been the model of consistency for about a month now, or close to that at least. And he, after being announced going to the All-Star game, he just has another 3-hit day, 4 runs scored for Randy Arozarena, 2 RBIs. That'll do. That'll do, Donkey.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I was just looking at Arozarena splits. May was bad. 232, 330, 368. That's just not going to get the job done. Yeah. But 854 OPS in June, even with needing a late power burst to get into the homer stuff. And then July has been fantastic. He's just been so good. And again, it does matter, because if you have somebody like Randy Arozarena hitting behind Cal Raleigh right now, it makes it so much harder to pitch around Raleigh. It's still going to happen, because just look at those numbers. Yeah. Real quick on Raleigh, I thought he got 2. I thought he had 2 today, and golly, I wanted it so bad. I wanted it so bad. I almost guarantee he hits a homer tomorrow, by the way.
Okay.
Like,
all right.
Willing to bet.
His swing's there. He's feeling it. Just barely missed a couple today.
But, speaking of the offense, I was thinking my unsung hero was going to be Ben Williamson because, it's my thing. And he had a terrific day. Terrific today. 3 for 5, and also saved a double with one of my favorite defensive plays. Luke Raley, you got to catch that ball, dude. You have got to make that play. But
even the double bounce?
Yeah. Oh, it's a perfect throw. That's the thing. That bounce is perfect because it gets the ball into there. You're not going to risk throwing that thing over his head. You want that ball to bounce a couple of times to make that nice, easy play for Raley. He's just got to make it. And I'll just point this out. Rowdy Tellez makes that play. He does a really good job with that. And Solano makes that play usually too. He's a better defensive first baseman. Okay. But my unsung hero is, we didn't talk about JP Crawford.
Yeah.
Drives in four. Couple of hits, and boy, does he look back offensively.
Yeah.
I'm still very concerned about the defense, but it's so nice having that at the top of the lineup. And it was so nice. You got so much offensive production today and big plays. Like, for instance, Big Dumper doesn't have a great offensive day, but he drives in a run and he makes a huge play throwing somebody out.
Luke
Raley makes the throw hits the 3-run homer to kind of turn this into blowout adjacent territory, even if they got back in it for
Polanco had a big knock. Raley had a big Canzone. You could go down the entire lineup.
Your unsung hero is going to be Cole Young for drawing a couple of walks, and he had a good day. But it was nice to see that Polanco just kind of that Crawford punctuated it, right?
Yeah.
He punctuates it with that bases loaded double. And I'll tell you this, I feel bad about it, but I'll just tell you what I told Anders. I was rooting for JP Crawford and Julio Rodriguez to strike out with the bases loaded because I wanted another Big Dumper grand slam. I wanted him to tie Barry Bonds with a grand slam for the second straight day. But in hindsight, I can definitely appreciate JP Crawford and what he has done offensively. The fact he's driving the baseball and hitting for a solid average can't be overstated. It cannot be overstated. And here's the thing. In order for him to be a valuable player, he has to perform at this level because he's not good enough defensively to make up for it. He is a well below average player if he is not at this type of OBP and a slugging percentage that is near this level. If he is not there, then JP Crawford is more detriment than asset. I know a lot of people don't like hearing that because they love him. And I love him. I'm proud of my son. It's one of the best trades that Jerry DiPoto has made to get that guy for the long term, right? But he has to hit at this level. And right now, he's doing exactly that.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm just talking about him offensively. The biggest thing for me is he's basically combining, what he had been up until his breakout year in 23 and that 23 year, because I think he was kind of selling out for the power. Definitely was able to run into a few more than we probably will ever see from him again in that year. And then last year, he just tried to do that way too much. Yeah. And he got away from what made him such a good player leading up to that point. And now you see the approach change. He can ambush something and kind of go for it until there's 2 strikes. And then I think they pointed it out the broadcast. He actually has a higher batting average with 2 strikes than he does before 2 strikes, which is wild to me. That's crazy. Like one of the rarest feats in baseball.
Crazy.
But that's just because he knows how to just put the ball in play, get it to the outfield, and try and make things happen with 2 strikes. Unsung, you already did your unsung hero.
Yeah,
you did it. That's JP. I'm going to go with an unsung play today.
Okay.
Because it involves Julio Rodriguez.
Okay.
It's number 1. I think it's in the 3rd inning. He has JP on first, I want to say. Hits a ground ball. Could have been a double play ball for almost anyone. Beats out the double play ball.
Yeah.
Then steals second base. They throw it away, steals third base. And that basically, at that point in the game, took the lead for the Mariners.
Yep.
Because that's when Cal hit the sac fly. His speed literally scored you a run. That's period. Without his speed, you don't score that run. And I realize that's just 1 run in a 15 run offensive explosion.
Yeah.
But it could, plays like that, he didn't even have that good of an at bat. He just got on base because he beats out a double play.
Sure.
It was good because I actually saw him like physically like, God, I got to get around that a little bit more, push it. And I like seeing that from him. Sorry, my camera's having a hard time focusing. But his speed is literally something that always can be relied upon, and that scored a run for the Seattle Mariners there. So that's my unsung play of the day.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call. That was a huge moment. And I also, just real quick, I thought you were going to talk about one of two plays. I thought that walk he drew in the first inning kind of set the table as well. That was such a good at bat, and it was clear.
But then he negated it by getting
but that also kind of like set up that he was seeing the baseball really well today. It was clear that he was going to be locked in, right? Like he clearly was picking, and I forgot about what our thing is called, locked on. That was huge. Both of those plays were huge. That RBI single up the middle was an awesome piece of hitting as well. Shows that you can have, it had an 80-mile-per-hour exit velocity. That's not very hard, but it had a 920 expected batting average because it was perfectly placed. You don't have to clobber the baseball to be an effective offensive player. It's nice when you do. And you saw that he can clobber a baseball on that homer. Real quick, and I know we're running out of time. I thought that ball was going to go foul, and I just about had one of my remote throws. Just about. Because the way he turned was like, I thought he was going to say, gosh, dang it.
Wishing it fair almost.
Yeah. But no, it was just that he shellacked the thing that he actually got to celebrate for a little bit.
God.
Oh, that was so awesome to see. And tomorrow will be interesting. A chance to sweep the best team by record in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and both with Julio, and I think you could say this about the whole team, when you see them do this in these past two games, that's what make those Yankees games so flippin' annoying.
So
annoying.
Because we should be talking about a 3-game winning streak. We should be talking about
a possibility to go, what is that, 4-2 into the All-Star break.
4-2 into the All-Star break against the biggest litmus test that I think this team has had all year.
Probably the two best teams in the American League. I mean, Houston, maybe, but yeah.
But I'll just say this, and I know this is Ty and Colby territory, and again, I know we're going long.
Yeah.
But this is an important game, and I think it's okay to go long. They've passed the litmus test for 3 straight games now. I know they end up losing that game 6-5 in extra innings, but they were the better team in that game. They were the better team in that game. They were the better team in the first game of the series for a large portion of it as well.
Yeah.
Then it just falls apart, right? Yeah. One of the most misleading 10-3 scores I think you'll have, because the Mariners were better until that stupid rain delay. Build a roof. They've passed the litmus test. Yeah. They have passed the litmus test, and I am as excited for a deadline for the Seattle Mariners as I have been for a very, very, very long time. And I know we're going long. I'm going to promote one other thing.
Do it.
I am hosting on KJR Thursday and Friday. At 2:05 on Thursday, I'm going to be joined by Justin Hollander.
We will be joined by Justin Hollander.
Yes, we will be joined by Justin Hollander. If you're nice to me, I'll let you ask him something.
If you're nice to me, I'll actually let you into the station.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. In fact, I don't think I will be in the station. Well, no, that's not a real thing. I'm just joking. I am super excited, and I would love you guys to tune in, because we had a great conversation last year at this point, and we heard a lot of interesting stuff. Do you remember what Hollander told us during that conversation about how he would be surprised if the Seattle Mariners didn't make moves?
Yeah.
Well, look what happened very shortly after. I am really excited for that conversation, and I hope you guys can join us.
Yep. Please tune in when you can. It will be so much fun. Sorry we went a little bit long today, but it's always fun to talk to you guys after a big Mariner series win. Let's go get the sweep tomorrow and kind of negate the Yankees series. If you go 3-3 into the All-Star break against the Yankees and Detroit away from home, that is a massive sigh of relief, and you have real momentum going into the All-Star break, which is huge, especially if your offense continues to look like this. So good stuff, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll talk to you tomorrow. I think it's another 10:10 start, if I remember correctly.
10:40.
10:40. Okay. Again, I always just make sure Pacific time, 10:40 Pacific time.
Yes, sir.
If you're watching or listening from another location, we really appreciate it. I will not mislead you in terms of the timing there. So, all right, we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Last word, Chris Crawford.
Yay.
One more. Come on.
That was fun.